Step into the heart of São Paulo, a city that tells its story not just in words, but in stone, steel, and ambition. Today, we're going on a journey back in time to the Roaring '20s, a decade when this city decided to reach for the sky. We'll trace the geometric silhouette of one building in particular, the Martinelli Building, and discover how Art Déco's streamlined elegance completely rewrote the vertical identity of downtown São Paulo. It was a time of radical change, a moment when the city began shedding its colonial skin to embrace a modern, industrial future. By contrasting rugged masonry with sleek, aerodynamic ornamentation, we'll see the concrete ambition of a rising global titan being immortalized, one floor at a time. This isn't just a story about architecture. It's the story of a metropolis finding its new voice. Picture São Paulo in the early 1920s, a city of low-rise colonial buildings, charming but not exactly a symbol of global power. Then, something extraordinary happened. The ground broke on a project that would forever alter the city's self-image. We're going to witness this incredible transformation as São Paulo discards its horizontal past for a soaring, vertical future. Imagine the initial shock and awe as the Martinelli Building began its ascent. This wasn't just another structure. It was the very first skyscraper in all of South America. Art Déco, with its bold lines and confident geometry, provided the perfect visual language for a city desperate to prove its growing economic status on the world stage. The Martinelli wasn't just built. It was a declaration, a powerful statement that São Paulo had arrived. Now let's zoom in on the details because that's where the real magic of Art Déco lies. We'll trace the architectural shift from traditional, heavy masonry to the clean, streamlined silhouettes of modernism. Look closely at the Martinelli's facade. You can see this fascinating interplay between jagged setbacks, those step-like recessions in the walls, and the smooth, aerodynamic ornamentation that defined the era. It's almost like the building is in motion, surging upwards. These sharp geometric patterns, the chevrons, the sunbursts, the zigzags, they weren't just decorative. They were a mirror, reflecting the high-speed pulse of an industrializing society, a world suddenly fascinated with speed, machines, and progress. It was the rhythm of the factory and the roar of the automobile, carved into concrete and stone. Let's step through the grand entrance and into the luxurious lobbies of the Martinelli. Imagine yourself surrounded by polished marble, gleaming chrome, and intricate metalwork. This was the world of the coffee barons, the new elite whose wealth was fueling the city's explosive growth. These interiors were designed to impress, to reflect not just wealth, but power. We'll analyze the vertical hierarchy of the building itself. The higher you went, the more exclusive the space became, culminating in the magnificent private residence of its creator, Giuseppe Martinelli, at the very top. This architecture physically centralized power in the city center. And beneath it all, we'll discover the engineering marvels that made it possible. The use of a reinforced concrete structure was revolutionary, allowing the skyline to reach heights previously thought impossible in Brazil. This building wasn't just touching the clouds. It was a testament to human ingenuity. To truly understand the impact of the Martinelli, we have to look at what it replaced. Let's contrast the remnants of old Portuguese colonial influence, the ornate tiles, the wooden balconies, the quiet courtyards, with the bold, machine-age aesthetics that were now taking over the streets. Art Deco wasn't just a style. It was a cultural movement. There was a powerful push to modernize every aspect of life, from fashion and furniture to the very buildings people lived and worked in. Its universal visual appeal, drawing inspiration from sources as diverse as ancient Egypt and Cubist art, transcended borders. In São Paulo, the architecture of the Martinelli Building and others like it served as a public manifesto. It was a clear, visible declaration of a future-oriented, industrial identity, a decisive break from the past, and a confident stride into the 20th century. So what is the legacy of this incredible period? Let's fast forward to today, to the sprawling urban landscape of modern São Paulo. We'll assess the lasting impact of that 1920s aesthetic on the city we see now. The concrete ambition that gave rise to the Martinelli didn't stop there. It set a precedent. We can connect that historic drive to the city's current status as a dominant global financial hub. Look around at the forest of glass and steel towers that define the skyline today. In their verticality, in their ambition, and in their role as centers of economic power, you can still see the echoes of the Art Deco movement. The spirit of the Martinelli lives on in every new skyscraper that rises, a constant reminder of the decade when São Paulo first learned to dream vertically. This journey into São Paulo's Art Déco past reveals more than just beautiful buildings. It shows us how a city can use architecture to forge a new identity, to project its aspirations onto the skyline for the entire world to see. The Martinelli Building is more than a landmark. It's a cornerstone of the city's modern soul. It represents a pivotal moment when São Paulo stopped looking back at its colonial heritage and started building its own future. A future that was bold, ambitious, and unapologetically modern. The streamlined elegance of Art Deco gave the city a new language, and it's a language that continues to shape its identity to this very day. Thank you so much for joining me on this architectural adventure through São Paulo. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the city's history, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you won't miss our next exploration. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Have you visited the Martinelli Building? What's your favorite Art Deco landmark? Let's keep the conversation going. Until next time, keep looking up.